7 men, one of the most demanding schedules in entertainment history. World tours spanning months, back-to-back rehearsals, recording sessions that stretch past midnight, and a level of public scrutiny that never switches off. Under those conditions, staying healthy isn't a luxury, it's survival. Each member of BTS has built their own system for keeping their body and mind functional in an industry designed to burn people out. Some lean into intense physical training. Others prioritize sleep like it's a professional obligation. A few find their reset button outdoors, away from stages and cameras entirely. But here's what's interesting. When HYBE's own staff and internal observations are taken into account, one member consistently stands out as the most disciplined, the most balanced, and the most committed to a healthy routine across the board. Not just in bursts, not just for comebacks, year-round. So who among the 7 actually walks the walk when it comes to health and wellness? And what specific habits set them apart from the rest?
Number 7. RM, a balanced life built on walking, nature, and mental clarity. Kim Namjoon, known to the world as RM, has never really fit the mold of a typical K-pop idol when it comes to lifestyle. While many artists in the industry gravitate toward gym selfies and intense workout routines to showcase their dedication, RM has quietly built something different. A lifestyle centered not on aesthetics, but on equilibrium. His approach to health isn't loud. It doesn't come with transformation photos or dramatic before and after timelines. Instead, it's rooted in a philosophy that treats mental well-being as inseparable from physical health. And that distinction is exactly what places him on this list, albeit the starting position. Walking is RM's most well-documented habit, and it's not casual. This isn't a man who takes a stroll around the block when he's bored. RM walks with intention. Throughout years of BTS content, from live broadcasts to behind-the-scenes footage on platforms like Weverse and VLive, he has repeatedly described walking as his primary method of clearing his mind. During BTS's Bon Voyage series, which followed the members on overseas trips, RM was frequently seen separating from the group to explore cities on foot. In Bon Voyage Season 4, filmed in New Zealand, RM woke up early specifically to walk through the countryside alone, later describing the experience as something that recharged him more than sleep ever could. That wasn't performance, that was pattern. Cycling followed a similar trajectory. RM has shared on multiple occasions that he rides bicycles regularly around Seoul, particularly along the Han River. In South Korea, cycling infrastructure is notably well developed. The country has over 1,800 kilometers of dedicated bike paths, including the famous Four Rivers cycling trail. And RM has taken advantage of that. During a 2020 VLive broadcast, he casually mentioned biking as part of his weekly routine, framing it not as exercise, but as a way to experience the city without being boxed in by a car or schedule. For someone whose daily life involves being recognized on sight in one of the world's most densely populated cities, the act of cycling through Seoul is both a physical activity and a deliberate reclaiming of normalcy. But what truly defines RM's approach to health is his investment in mental space. He is, by all documented accounts, the member most consistently engaged with art and culture as a form of psychological maintenance. His Instagram account, followed by 40 million people, reads less like a celebrity feed and more like the visual diary of a curator. Museum visits are not occasional detours for RM, they are fixtures. He has been photographed and has shared visits to institutions including the Art Institute of Chicago, the Fondation Louis Vuitton in Paris, the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art in Seoul, and dozens of smaller galleries across multiple continents. In a 2022 interview with Weverse magazine tied to his solo album Indigo, he explicitly stated that engaging with art helped him manage the psychological weight of global fame. He described it as a practice, something he does regularly and with purpose, not just when inspiration strikes.
This matters because the conversation around idol health in South Korea often skips mental wellness entirely. The K-pop industry has a well-documented history of pushing artists to physical extremes while giving minimal structural attention to psychological health. A 2019 study published in the Korean Journal of Medicine highlighted that mental health disorders among entertainment industry trainees were significantly higher than the general population, with anxiety and depression being the most common diagnoses. RM has never publicly claimed to have struggled with clinical mental health issues, but his consistent public emphasis on activities that serve psychological well-being, walking, art, nature, solitude, signals an awareness of what sustainable health actually requires. Nature, in particular, plays a role in RM's routine that goes beyond casual appreciation. He has spoken about spending time outdoors specifically as a counterbalance to the artificiality of idol life, the stages, the cameras, the controlled environments. During a 2021 interview, he described trips to the mountains and forests outside Seoul as moments where he felt most like a human being and least like a product. That kind of language isn't accidental. It reveals a person who has thought seriously about the relationship between environment and well-being, which aligns with a growing body of research. A widely cited 2019 study published in Scientific Reports found that spending at least 120 minutes per week in natural environments was significantly associated with good health and well-being, regardless of how that time was distributed. RM's habits mirror those findings almost exactly. His reading habit also deserves mention, not because reading is exercise, but because it reflects the same commitment to mental upkeep. RM's book recommendations became so influential that titles he mentioned during interviews and live streams frequently sold out in South Korea within hours. He recommended Hermann Hesse's Demian during a fan interaction, and the novel saw a measurable spike in sales across Korean bookstores. His reading isn't performative. He discusses themes, quotes passages from memory, and connects ideas from books to his own songwriting. That level of engagement suggests deep reading, the kind that cognitive research consistently links to stress reduction and improved emotional regulation. So why is RM at number 7 and not higher? Because his lifestyle, while genuinely balanced and admirably thoughtful, leans more heavily towards mental health maintenance than the physical rigor demonstrated by some of his member groups on this list. His exercise habits, walking and cycling, are effective for cardiovascular health and mood regulation, but they don't reflect the structured, intensive physical training regimens that some of his groupmates follow. That's not a flaw, it's a choice, and it's a choice that works for him. But in a ranking specifically examining overall health discipline as observed through documented habits and HYBE-associated content, the members ahead of him simply demonstrate a more comprehensive or more physically demanding approach. What RM proves, though, is that health isn't just about muscle or endurance. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk through a museum alone and let your mind breathe.
Number 6. Suga, the strategic science of rest and recovery. Min Yoongi has been called lazy more times than he can probably count. Fans joke about it. Variety shows have leaned into it. Even his own groupmates have teased him for his ability to fall asleep virtually anywhere. Backstage, in moving vehicles, on the floor of a practice room. But here's the thing most people miss when they reduce Suga to a sleeping meme. The man isn't lazy, he's strategic, and the distinction between those two things is significant. Suga's relationship with sleep isn't about avoidance or low energy. It's about a deliberate, informed prioritization of recovery in an industry that actively discourages it. The K-pop system, particularly the trainee-to-debut pipeline, has historically treated rest as a weakness. Trainees at major entertainment companies have reported schedules that allowed as few as 3 to 4 hours of sleep per night during preparation periods. A 2021 investigative report by Korea Juwon Daily detailed the physical toll of these schedules, with former trainees describing chronic fatigue, hormonal imbalances, and immune system deterioration as common side effects. Suga came through that exact system. He trained under Big Hit Entertainment, now HYBE, starting in 2010, debuting with BTS in 2013 after 3 years of a regimen that, by his own account, was physically and mentally grueling. So when he emerged on the other side of that experience with a firm, almost non-negotiable commitment to sleep, it wasn't because he lacked drive. It was because he understood from first-hand experience what happens when rest is treated as optional. In a 2018 interview with Billboard, Suga stated plainly that sleep was the single most important factor in his ability to function at a high level. He didn't frame it as a preference, he framed it as a requirement. And the science overwhelmingly supports his position. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine has consistently demonstrated that adults who sleep fewer than 7 hours per night face elevated risks of cardiovascular disease, obesity, diabetes, and impaired cognitive function. A 2017 meta-analysis in Sleep Medicine Reviews found that chronic sleep restriction, the kind endemic in entertainment and high-performance industries, was associated with measurable declines in reaction time, decision-making accuracy, and emotional regulation. Suga's insistence on adequate sleep isn't indulgence, it's evidence-based self-preservation. But rest for Suga extends beyond just nighttime sleep. He has spoken repeatedly about the concept of active recovery, giving the body time to repair after periods of intense physical output. This is particularly relevant given his medical history. In 2020, Suga underwent surgery to repair a torn labrum in his left shoulder, an injury he originally sustained in a car accident in 2012 before BTS even debuted. He had lived with the injury for 8 years, performing choreography, touring globally, and maintaining a schedule that would be physically demanding even for someone without a compromised joint. After the surgery, Suga was transparent about his rehabilitation process, sharing updates that emphasized patience and proper healing over rushing back to activity. That approach, choosing long-term structural recovery over short-term performance, reflected a maturity about physical health that many professional athletes struggle with, let alone entertainers.
His exercise habits, while less publicized than those of some other members, are consistent and purposeful. Suga has mentioned working out regularly, particularly to maintain the stamina required for live performances. BTS concerts are not casual affairs. A single show during their Love Yourself or Map of the Soul tours ran approximately 2.5 to 3 hours, involving continuous choreography, set changes, and audience engagement across stadium-sized venues. Performing at that level on consecutive nights, sometimes with only a single rest day between shows, demands a baseline of cardiovascular and muscular endurance that doesn't happen by accident. Suga has acknowledged this in behind-the-scenes content, noting that he works out specifically to ensure he can sustain energy through full concert set lists without his body breaking down. What makes Suga's approach distinctive is his honesty about physical limitations. He does not perform invincibility. In multiple interviews and during BTS's own reality content, he has discussed his body's constraints openly: the shoulder, the general fatigue that comes with years of intense scheduling, the need to listen to what his body is telling him rather than overwrite it. In a culture where idols are often expected to project perpetual vitality, that honesty is uncommon. And it's arguably healthier than the alternative. A 2020 article in the British Journal of Sports Medicine noted that athletes who acknowledged and responded to early signs of overtraining had significantly lower rates of serious injury compared to those who pushed through warning signals. Suga's willingness to rest when rest is needed, rather than performing toughness, aligns with best practices in sports science, even if he's never framed it in those terms. His mental health awareness also factors into his overall lifestyle profile. Suga has been one of the most open BTS members about psychological struggles, discussing periods of depression and anxiety in both his music and interviews. His solo work under the moniker AGD, particularly tracks like The Last from his 2016 mixtape, addressed social anxiety, obsessive-compulsive tendencies, and depression with a specificity that went far beyond the generic hard times language common in pop music. By publicly normalizing conversations about mental health and by structuring his personal routine around adequate rest and recovery, Suga models a lifestyle that treats psychological and physical health as a single integrated system. So why number 6?
Because while Suga's philosophy of rest and recovery is sound, arguably among the most scientifically grounded on this list, his overall physical activity level, based on available content and documented habits, doesn't reach the intensity or consistency of the members above him. His approach is smart, sustainable, and deeply self-aware. But health, in a comprehensive sense, also includes proactive physical conditioning, and the members ahead demonstrate that dimension more prominently. Still, Suga offers something none of the others do quite as clearly: proof that knowing when to stop is just as important as knowing when to push.
Number 5. Jungkook, built for performance, driven by obsession. There's a reason BTS's own members started calling Jungkook the Golden Maknae. It wasn't just about vocal range or dance ability, or the fact that he picked up new skills, filming, drawing, athletics, with an almost irritating ease. It was about the physical engine behind all of it. Jungkook doesn't just work out. He trains like someone preparing for a fight he hasn't been told about yet. And the footage to prove it has been piling up for years. Jungkook's gym habits are arguably the most visible of any BTS member. Across vlogs, behind-the-scenes content, and the group's long-running reality series Run BTS and In the Soup, his physical routines have been captured in enough detail to piece together a clear picture. He lifts weights regularly, favoring compound movements, bench press, deadlifts, squats, that target multiple muscle groups simultaneously. In multiple clips shared through Weverse and BTS's official content channels, he's been seen performing pull-ups, weighted dips, and cable exercises with form that suggests not just casual gym attendance, but informed, structured programming. This isn't a guy wandering between machines. This is someone who understands progressive overload and applies it. Boxing entered his routine with particular intensity around 2019 and 2020. During In the Soup Season 1, Jungkook was filmed practicing boxing combinations with focus mitts, and his speed and coordination were notably sharp for someone without a competitive combat sports background. Boxing, as a training discipline, is exceptionally demanding from a cardiovascular standpoint. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that a typical boxing training session elevated heart rate to between 75 and 85% of maximum for sustained periods, placing it among the most effective forms of high-intensity interval training available. For a performer whose job requires sustained cardiovascular output across multi-hour concerts, boxing serves a dual purpose. It builds the aerobic base needed for stage endurance while simultaneously developing upper body power and coordination that feeds directly into sharper choreography. The physical results of Jungkook's training are documented in the most literal sense possible. His physique has visibly evolved over the course of BTS's career, particularly from 2018 onward. During the Love Yourself tour era, his arms and shoulders showed noticeable muscular development compared to earlier periods, and by the Map of the Soul era, the change was even more pronounced. This isn't subjective fan observation, it's visible in official photo shoots, music video appearances, and live performance footage released by HYBE. The trajectory is consistent with someone maintaining a serious resistance training program over multiple years, not someone doing occasional bursts of activity before comebacks. But Jungkook's physicality extends well beyond the gym. He is, by documented evidence, the most naturally athletic member of BTS. During episodes of Run BTS, which frequently featured physical challenges and games, Jungkook consistently outperformed his groupmates in tasks requiring speed, strength, agility, and endurance. He's been filmed sprinting, swimming, doing flips, playing sports with immediate competency, and generally treating any physical challenge as a personal dare. In one well-known episode, he completed an obstacle course so efficiently that the production staff appeared genuinely surprised. In another, he arm-wrestled multiple members in succession without apparent fatigue. These aren't staged moments. The show's format relies on real-time competition, and Jungkook's physical dominance in those settings has been a recurring theme for years. His approach to physical fitness also connects to what appears to be a genuinely competitive personality. Jungkook has described himself in interviews as someone who doesn't like losing at anything.
That competitive drive, when channeled into fitness, creates a self-reinforcing cycle. He trains hard, sees results, and the results motivate harder training. Sports psychologists have long recognized this pattern. A 2016 study in Psychology of Sport and Exercise found that individuals with high competitive orientation were significantly more likely to maintain consistent exercise habits over time, particularly when their training produced visible, measurable outcomes. Jungkook fits that profile almost exactly. His diet, however, is where things get more complicated, and it's part of why he sits at number 5 rather than higher. Jungkook has been relatively open about his eating habits, and they don't always align with the structured nutrition plans typically associated with serious athletes. He has expressed a well-documented love of instant ramen, bread, and various comfort foods. During live broadcasts, he's been seen eating late at night, snacking casually, and generally not demonstrating the kind of meal planning discipline that characterizes the members ranked above him. This isn't a criticism. He's in his mid-20s. His metabolism and training volume likely accommodate a higher caloric intake without visible consequence, and there's no evidence that his diet negatively impacts his performance. But in a ranking that examines overall lifestyle health rather than just physical output, nutritional consistency matters, and Jungkook's approach to food is more intuitive than systematic. There's also the question of rest. Jungkook is known as a night owl, one of the latest sleepers in the group. He has done live broadcasts well past midnight Korean Standard Time, and members have joked about his tendency to stay up into the early morning hours. While this doesn't automatically indicate sleep deprivation, his schedule may allow for later wake times. It does suggest a sleep pattern that's less structured than what sleep researchers would consider optimal. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommends consistent sleep and wake times as one of the most important factors in sleep quality, and irregular schedules, even when total sleep duration is adequate, have been associated with poorer metabolic and cardiovascular outcomes in studies published in Sleep Journal. So, Jungkook lands at 5, an exceptionally gifted athlete with serious training habits and a level of raw physical ability that probably surpasses everyone else in the group. But health isn't only about what happens in the gym. It's about the full picture: nutrition, rest, consistency across all domains. And the members above him demonstrate a more complete integration of those elements.
Number 4. Jimin. The art of eating well without eating less. Kim Seokjin loves food. This is not speculation, not fan interpretation, and not a persona crafted for variety shows. Jin's relationship with food is one of the most thoroughly documented aspects of his public life, spanning a decade of content that includes his own self-produced mukbang series, countless behind-the-scenes moments, and a genuine enthusiasm for cooking, tasting, and discussing meals that goes well beyond what any media training could manufacture. The man once described eating as one of his greatest sources of happiness. And yet, here he is, ranked 4th on a list about healthy lifestyles. Because Jin figured out something that trips up a lot of people. You don't have to eat less to eat well. You just have to eat smart. Jin's personal content series, which fans dubbed Eat Jin, and later evolved into various cooking and eating segments across BTS's platforms, offered a surprisingly detailed window into his nutritional thinking. Unlike mukbang creators who prioritize spectacle, enormous portions, extreme flavors, competitive speed, Jin's eating content consistently featured balanced meals. He cooked Korean dishes that incorporated vegetables, lean proteins, fermented sides like kimchi and doenjang jjigae, and rice portions that were generous without being excessive. Traditional Korean cuisine, as a dietary framework, has significant backing in nutritional science. A 2016 study published in the Journal of Ethnic Foods analyzed the standard Korean diet and found it to be naturally high in fiber, rich in fermented foods with probiotic benefits, and lower in saturated fat compared to typical Western dietary patterns. The researchers concluded that traditional Korean eating habits were associated with lower rates of obesity and cardiovascular disease. Jin didn't need a nutritionist to tell him this. He grew up eating this way, and he continued eating this way by choice. What separates Jin from someone who simply eats Korean food by default is the intentionality behind his choices. In multiple interviews and live broadcasts, he has discussed the concept of balancing indulgence with awareness. He doesn't restrict. He doesn't count calories on camera. He doesn't promote any particular diet philosophy. What he does, consistently across years of content, is demonstrate a pattern of eating that includes variety, moderation, and an understanding that nutrition is cumulative, not transactional. He enjoys fried chicken. He eats pizza. He has shown genuine excitement over fast food. But these appear as occasional choices within a broader pattern of meals that prioritize whole ingredients and home cooking. Nutritional science has a term for this: flexible dietary restraint. A 2012 study in appetite found that individuals who practiced flexible restraint, allowing occasional indulgences within an overall balanced dietary pattern, had better long-term weight management outcomes and lower rates of disordered eating compared to those who practiced rigid restriction. Jin embodies this approach naturally. His cooking skills are not trivial in this context. Jin has demonstrated genuine competency in the kitchen across multiple BTS content series, including in the SOP and various Run BTS episodes that involved cooking challenges. He handles knives properly, understands heat control, and builds flavors in a way that suggests real kitchen experience rather than coach performance. The health relevance here is direct. People who cook their own meals eat better. A 2017 study published in the International Journal of Behavioral Nutrition and Physical Activity analyzed the dietary habits of over 11,000 adults and found that those who cooked at home more than 5 times per week consumed significantly more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and significantly less sugar and processed food than those who cooked less frequently. By cooking regularly and visibly enjoying the process, Jin maintains a level of dietary control that restaurant-dependent or delivery-reliant lifestyles simply cannot match. On the physical activity side, Jin's exercise habits are less flashy than some of his groupmates, but more consistent than they might appear on the surface. He has been documented working out at the gym, though he tends not to showcase his routines with the same enthusiasm as members like Jungkook or Jimin. During his military service, Jin enlisted in December 2022 as the first BTS member to begin mandatory service in the Republic of Korea Army. His physical conditioning became a matter of public record in a different way. South Korean military basic training involves rigorous physical standards, including running, push-ups, sit-ups, and extended marches with loaded packs. Jin completed his basic training and full service period, which lasted approximately 18 months, without reported physical issues. While military service is compulsory and not a personal lifestyle choice, completing it successfully at age 30, older than the average enlistee, requires a baseline level of fitness that doesn't materialize from nowhere. His pre-existing exercise habits, however understated, clearly provided a foundation. Jin has also spoken about managing his weight and physique in ways that reflect a healthy psychological relationship with his body. In a 2019 Bang & Bomb, short behind-the-scenes clips released by HYBE, he mentioned monitoring his weight before specific events, but did so casually, without the anxiety or obsessive language that sometimes accompanies body management discussions in the K-pop industry. The broader context here matters. The pressure on male K-pop idols to maintain specific body standards has been well documented, with a 2020 study in Body Image Journal finding that appearance-related stress among male idols was comparable to levels found in female idols, both significantly higher than non-celebrity control groups. Jin's ability to navigate that pressure while maintaining a genuinely positive relationship with food is not a small thing. It suggests emotional resilience around a topic that has genuinely damaged other people in his industry. His approach does have limitations within this ranking, though. Jin's physical training, while adequate, doesn't reflect the intensity or structured progression seen in the members above him. His exercise is functional, enough to maintain health, perform choreography, and complete military service, but it's not a central pillar of his daily life the way it is for higher-ranked members. He also hasn't emphasized recovery practices, mental health routines, or outdoor activities to the same degree as others on this list. But what Jin demonstrates better than anyone else in BTS is that food is not the enemy of health. It can be the foundation of it, if you know what you're doing and if you enjoy the process enough to sustain it for life. Number 3. Taehyung, a lifestyle of sports and outdoor activities. Kim Taehyung, known globally as V, approaches physical health through a lens that combines functional fitness with recreation. While some of his bandmates treat the gym as a secondary workplace, a space defined by structured repetitions, metal weights, and indoor isolation, Taehyung's lifestyle is characterized by movement, play, and outdoor engagement. For him, staying healthy is not a chore to be checked off a daily to-do list. It is a natural byproduct of engaging with the physical world. This philosophy of integrating sports and outdoor recreation into his routine is what earns him the 3rd spot on this list. It is a sustainable approach to fitness that emphasizes longevity, cardiovascular variety, and mental restoration over rigid aesthetic maintenance. One of the most prominent pillars of Taehyung's active lifestyle is golf. What began as a personal endeavor to connect with his family quickly evolved into a serious, consistent hobby. Taehyung has frequently shared clips of his golf swing on social media, showcasing a mechanical proficiency that requires significant core stability, balance, and hand-eye coordination. From a sports science perspective, golf is a highly effective form of low-intensity steady-state, LISS, exercise. A standard 18-hole round of golf requires walking between 4 and 8 miles, depending on the course layout. This sustained walking keeps the heart rate within a moderate aerobic zone, which promotes cardiovascular health without placing excessive stress on the joints or triggering the high cortisol responses associated with intense weight training. Furthermore, the rotational power required for a proper golf swing engages the obliques, hips, and lower back, building functional rotational strength that is crucial for preventing injuries during the complex, high-impact choreography that BTS performs on stage. In addition to golf, Taehyung has demonstrated a strong affinity for racket sports, particularly tennis. During a multi-episode arc on the group's variety show Run BTS, the members were introduced to tennis by professional coaches. While many struggled with the technical aspects of the sport, Taehyung showed a natural aptitude for the racket, displaying quick lateral movement and precise spatial awareness. He continued to play tennis outside of the show's production schedule. Racket sports are widely recognized by epidemiologists as some of the most beneficial activities for long-term health. A comprehensive study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine tracked over 80,000 adults over a 9-year period and found that regular participation in racket sports was associated with a 47% reduction in all-cause mortality and a 56% reduction in cardiovascular disease mortality. The rapid changes of direction, deceleration, and explosive acceleration required in tennis act as an excellent form of agility training, keeping the neuromuscular system highly responsive and maintaining joint integrity in the knees and ankles. Taehyung's physical routine is also deeply connected to his love for the outdoors. He is frequently seen engaging in what researchers call green exercise, physical activity performed in natural, outdoor environments. Whether it is walking through parks, exploring scenic landscapes during international tours, or horse riding, Taehyung consistently chooses open-air settings for physical movement. The physiological benefits of green exercise are well documented. A study by researchers at the University of Essex found that exercising in natural settings leads to a more significant reduction in blood pressure, heart rate, and mental fatigue compared to exercising indoors. The presence of natural light also regulates circadian rhythms, promoting healthier sleep patterns. For a global artist constantly subjected to artificial stage lighting and high-stress environments, spending time active outdoors is a direct, evidence-based countermeasure to the physical and mental wear and tear of his profession. However, the ultimate testament to Taehyung's physical capability and lifestyle discipline came during his mandatory military enlistment. In late 2023, Taehyung volunteered for the Special Duty Team, SDT, an elite military police unit under the Capital Defense Command of the Republic of Korea Army. The SDT is a specialized force tasked with counter-terrorism operations, hostage rescue, urban warfare, and VIP protection. The selection process alone is highly competitive and physically demanding, requiring candidates to pass rigorous examinations of their strength, endurance, and mental fortitude. Once admitted, SDT trainees undergo some of the most grueling physical conditioning in the South Korean military. This includes long-distance runs in full combat gear, high-altitude rappelling, close-quarters combat training, and intense tactical drills designed to push the human body to its limits. Taeyoung's successful entry into and performance within this elite unit shocked many who only knew him through his relaxed public persona. It proved, without a doubt, that beneath his easygoing exterior lies a highly disciplined physical foundation capable of meeting elite military fitness standards. This military conditioning, combined with his pre-enlistment sports habits, creates a lifestyle that is exceptionally balanced. By focusing on activities that require high levels of coordination and focus, such as golf, tennis, and tactical military training, Taeyoung keeps his mind engaged while conditioning his body. This prevents the mental fatigue and burnout that often accompany monotonous fitness regimens. Psychologists refer to this as cognitive engagement in physical activity, which has been shown to improve executive function and overall mental health more effectively than repetitive, non-engaging exercises. Taeyoung's lifestyle demonstrates that fitness does not have to be confined to a weight room to be elite. It can be built through sport, adventure, and the discipline to face extreme physical challenges head-on. Ultimately, Taeyoung's placement at number 3 is justified by this unique combination of recreational activity and elite military discipline. He does not view fitness as a rigid set of rules, but his ability to perform at the highest levels of military service proves that his lifestyle is incredibly effective at maintaining peak physical readiness. He has mastered the art of staying fit while keeping his mind relaxed and his body versatile, serving as a model of balanced wellness. Yet, as impressive as his outdoor versatility and elite military training are, they are met by a member whose approach to fitness is defined by an almost legendary level of daily, uncompromising physical discipline. Number 2. Jimin, a disciplined lifestyle of fitness and conditioning. Part Jimin's approach to physical fitness is defined by a word that comes up constantly when staff, trainers, and his fellow bandmates discuss his work ethic, discipline. He is, by all accounts, a perfectionist who treats his body as a high-precision instrument. For Jimin, exercise and conditioning are not casual activities to fit into a busy schedule. They are essential requirements of his profession. To deliver the fluid, gravity-defying choreography he is known for, he maintains a level of physical control and conditioning that requires daily, deliberate effort. This uncompromising commitment to physical excellence and body management is what places him at the number 2 spot on this list. It is a lifestyle built on physical mastery, constant conditioning, and an exceptional ability to push through physical discomfort to achieve peak performance. The foundation of Jimin's physical capability lies in his background in modern dance. Before joining Big Hit Entertainment, he studied modern dance at the Busan High School of Arts, entering as the top student in his department. Modern dance is widely regarded as one of the most physically demanding art forms in existence. Unlike classical ballet, which relies on upright alignment and structured positions, modern dance requires dancers to move off balance, perform floor work, drop and recover their weight rapidly, and execute complex jumps that put immense strain on the musculoskeletal system. A study published in the Journal of Dance Medicine and Science found that professional modern dancers experience physiological stress levels and injury rates comparable to those of competitive gymnasts and figure skaters. The years Jimin spent training in this discipline built an extraordinary foundation of core strength, flexibility, and muscle memory that continues to define his movement style and physical fitness today. What sets Jimin apart from many performers is his history of deliberate practice. In the early years of BTS, he was notorious for staying in the rehearsal studio long after the other members had left, sometimes practicing until the early hours of the morning. While modern sports science generally cautions against this level of sleep deprivation due to the risk of overtraining syndrome. It demonstrates the psychological drive that underpins his fitness journey. In cognitive psychology, deliberate practice is defined as highly focused, structured effort aimed specifically at improving performance. This type of practice increases the myelination of neural pathways, allowing the brain to execute complex physical movements with greater speed and precision. As Jimin's career progressed, he channeled this intense work ethic into a more balanced conditioning routine, working with professional trainers to supplement his dance rehearsals with targeted strength and mobility exercises. Jimin's relationship with nutrition has also undergone a significant educational evolution. During the promotion of BTS's hit track Blood, Sweat, and Tears in 2016, Jimin engaged in extreme caloric restriction, a decision he later openly regretted and advised fans never to replicate. In a 2017 BTS memoir and subsequent documentary content, he revealed that he had restricted himself to one meal a day for days at a time to achieve a specific lean aesthetic. This honesty provided a crucial learning point for observers. Extreme restriction is highly counterproductive to support the high-impact jumps and landings featured in his solo choreography. Jimin must maintain exceptional core stability and joint health. The physical toll of performing tracks like Lie or Filter live is immense, requiring rapid rotations and deep back bends that place heavy mechanical stress on the lumbar spine and knees. To prevent chronic injuries, Jimin's workouts place a heavy emphasis on stabilizing the deep core muscles, such as the transversus abdominis and multifidus, which act as a protective brace for the spine. Additionally, plyometric training and mobility work help keep his joints resilient. This preventative conditioning is what has allowed him to sustain a high-intensity dancing career for over a decade without suffering the career-ending joint issues that commonly plague professional dancers. The ultimate proof of Jimin's physical discipline and adaptability occurred during his mandatory military service, which began in December 2023. Enlisting in the 5th Infantry Division of the Republic of Korea Army, Jimin completed his 5 weeks of basic training at the top of his class. He was awarded the Commandership Honor, the highest award given to the exemplary trainee of the division, which was presented directly by the division commander. This honor is not given lightly. It is based on outstanding performance across all areas of basic training, including physical fitness tests, marksmanship, written exams, and military discipline. To outperform hundreds of younger recruits in a demanding infantry environment is a concrete, verifiable indicator of Jimin's elite physical conditioning and mental toughness. Ultimately, number 1. J-Hope, the most consistent lifestyle of fitness maintenance. Young Hoseok, known to the world as J-Hope, occupies the top spot on this list not because he lifts the heaviest weights or runs the fastest sprints, but because of a single, crucial variable: consistency. In the science of health and longevity, consistency is the ultimate multiplier. A moderate routine executed perfectly every single day will always outperform an extreme program done sporadically. J-Hope is the personification of this rule. Both HYBE staff and his fellow BTS members have repeatedly identified him as the most organized, structured, and disciplined member of the group. In various reality shows and interviews, the members have noted that J-Hope is incredibly neat and orderly, keeping his environment clean. In environmental psychology, a clean and organized living space is directly linked to lower stress levels and reduced cortisol production, establishing a healthy baseline before physical training even begins. The foundation of J-Hope's physical capability lies in his background in street dance. Before joining BTS, he was a member of the Gwangju dance crew Neuron, specializing in popping and locking. These dance styles require extreme muscular isolation, rapid contraction of muscle fibers, and exceptional joint mobility. From a biomechanical perspective, popping and locking place unique demands on the body, requiring the joints to act as shock absorbers while the muscles execute sharp movements. A study in the Journal of Sports Sciences notes that street dancers possess higher levels of anaerobic capacity and agility compared to classical dancers. J-Hope's years of street dance built a resilient physical framework, providing him with the stamina to lead BTS's choreography rehearsals as the group's main dancer, which often demand hours of repetitive high-impact motion. In behavioral psychology, the establishment of routine is recognized as one of the most effective ways to reduce cognitive fatigue and manage stress. When habits are automated, the brain conserves energy that would otherwise be spent on decision-making. J-Hope's daily habits are legendary within HYBE. Behind-the-scenes vlogs show him maintaining a strict routine regardless of his location. He is often the first to wake up, immediately beginning a routine of stretching and hydration. Furthermore, he maintains a highly consistent sleep-wake schedule. Researchers at the University of Southern California have found that habits are formed through repeated cues and rewards, and J-Hope's ability to maintain his routines in hotel rooms across the globe demonstrates a highly developed habit loop that protects his physical and mental well-being from the circadian disruptions of constant travel. One of J-Hope's most documented habits is his commitment to hydration. He is rarely seen without a bottle of water, and he has spoken about the importance of drinking water to maintain energy levels and skin health. The physiological necessity of water cannot be overstated. Even mild dehydration, a loss of 1 to 2% of body water, impairs cognitive function, physical endurance, and cardiovascular efficiency, as shown in studies published in Nutrients. Furthermore, J-Hope is meticulous about his skincare and hygiene routines, treating them as essential aspects of his daily health maintenance. While skincare is often viewed through an aesthetic lens, the skin is the body's largest organ and its primary barrier against pathogens. Maintaining skin barrier integrity through hydration and proper care is a fundamental component of overall wellness. J-Hope's public persona is built around energy and optimism, but maintaining that outlook requires deliberate psychological management. As the group's choreographic leader, he carries the responsibility of organizing and teaching performances. This role requires high emotional intelligence, patience, and stress regulation. Psychologists refer to this as active emotional regulation, the process of consciously managing one's emotional state to achieve a positive outcome. By consciously cultivating a constructive attitude and providing support to his team, J-Hope prevents the accumulation of chronic stress, which is known to elevate cortisol and weaken the immune system. His mental discipline is just as structured as his physical routine, showing that mental health requires active cultivation to build resilience against professional burnout. This structured discipline was put on display during his mandatory military enlistment from April 2023 to October 2024. J-Hope served at the 36th Infantry Division Recruit Training Center. Due to his exceptional physical fitness, leadership qualities, and adherence to military standards, he was selected as an assistant instructor. This role is reserved for elite soldiers who demonstrate superior physical performance, tactical knowledge, and exemplary conduct. Ultimately, J-Hope's lifestyle represents the absolute ideal of health, a balanced, highly consistent integration of physical conditioning, proper hydration, mental resilience, and structured routine. He proves that the key to surviving a grueling lifestyle is not temporary intensity, but permanent consistency. His journey sets the standard for the entire group, leaving us to look at the final, overarching picture of how all 7 members bring these diverse habits together to stay at the very top of their game.